Lawyers who put together wills. What is the craziest, oddest thing someone wanted to put in theirs? When my great-aunt, whom I barely had any relationship with, died, I discovered that in her will, she left me a taxidermied giant silk moth that she had hanging on her wall. Evidently someone told her about my love for bugs. I still have it and it's one of the coolest things in my collection of odd knickknacks. She left my cousin a Furby. Not a will, but a deed. The city I worked for was renovating a small park that was donated to the city in the 1910s. We went looking through the handwritten deed for easements or other restrictions and found that the family could claw the property back if the park were not perpetually provided with a fountain of pleasant running water fit for consumption by man and beast alike. The family still has descendants in town, so we installed a new water fountain with a dog bowl filler just to be safe. Undead Kitten said, "Here, greater than, to my daughter Anne, who created my beautiful granddaughter Jane, and her dear fourth husband John, who laid hands on my Jane. I leave $1, you money-grubbing bastards. To Jane I leave all of my monetary assets, save $5,000 and my best gun, which I leave to my son Bill, on the condition that he beats John bloody during the time between my funeral and my burial. Jane, bail your uncle out of jail, please." I work in probate. The oddest thing I've seen in a will is to euthanize their beloved horse. Have it cremated and its ashes scattered with the decedent. Lucky for her horse, she named a horse that was already dead so the one she got afterwards lived to see another pharmacier. My grandfather passed a few hours ago, but my grandmother came to me after with a navy blue tie featuring pink elephants. Ridiculous looking, but she said that he wore it to intimidate people in business. Is someone willing to wear such a ridiculous tie? Doesn't care about what people think. That scares people. So he wanted me to have it so I could do the same. Edit. I will add an edit with a picture later. To everyone, thank you. It's not as in your face as some of you likely thought, but I love it. My grandma left a penny and a nasty comment to almost every person in the will. All of her sons and daughters. Even a few grandchildren. Except for me. I got $1,000. Thanks, Grandma. A good clause is always for reasons known to Themyscira. Witches will speak for, you've gone and ducked up. Asshole. I don't forgive you. In my own will, I've left my father the contents of my kitchen trash can at the time of my passing, for reasons known to him this year. A Furby collection from models collected in the late 90s. They were convinced they would retain future value. This was 2011. My sister's mother-in-law is leaving her house to her 3 sons. If one wants to sell out his third of the house, he has to sell it to the other 2 brothers for $1. My vindictive grandmother left my aunt $20 as a reminder of the $20 my aunt stole from her once. Lots of people sending their friends and family on weird errands to spread their ashes. Leaving money for people to take trips and spread their ashes around the world. Pet trusts are a fun one. Leaving a whole whack of money in a trust to be used for the care of the pet during their life. However, my favorite ever, that I obviously didn't draft, was a lawyer who left the bulk of his estate, millions in today's dollars, to whatever Toronto area woman had the most children at a specific date some years in the future. I recall the winner had 10. Here's one from one of my dad's law partners. He had the lady come in with an itemized list of books and wanted her will to contain all of the books and who will get what based on her choosing. So basically she decides who gets what specific book instead of letting her beneficiaries decide. The truly astonishing thing is how many books and how specific they get. According to Dad's law partner, her list is at about 2,000 books to be divided among about 30 people. She is apparently very specific and comes back at least once a year to add all the new books she's gotten. Not a lawyer, but an aging woman my family knew left her house, large, and in a very affluent neighborhood, an estate to family friends for so long as her cats were alive and taken care of in said house. After they died, the house was to be sold and the remaining estate donated. The weird thing is, it's been like 20 years and the cats are still alive. Also, they have changed color. I'm the executor of my grandmother's will. I also get the house and everything in it and a share of life insurance that's split 3 ways. Between myself, sister, and monsieur. My mom has always said that all my dad, my grandmother's son-in-law, would like to have is some table. Well, in the will there's like a whole paragraph that states how my dad gets nothing. He doesn't lay a finger on anything in the house or any money. How my dad is basically worthless and deserves nothing, and how he was a crap dad and that she begrudgingly has my mom in the will. Thanks, Grandma, I'll appreciate the awkwardness. Not a lawyer, but my mom put in her will that if she dies under suspicious circumstances that my sister and I won't be left anything. She watches a lot of true crime. I, early 20s, was forced to write a will due to the health insurance I get at work. And, amongst sensible stuff, the in-house lawyer said it was totally okay for this clause to be added. My funeral wishes are that I be buried in a coffin which has been spring-loaded, such that opening the coffin would cause alarm to future archaeologists. Then a bunch of stuff about if this is too costly I'd be cremated and have my ashes scattered in a specific place. Edit. Thank you for the gold. My great-grandmother left most of her money to a local donkey sanctuary. Not a lawyer, but I work at a law firm this year. One client left $100,000 to his 2 cats so they could maintain their current lifestyle. Saw this answer from a similar question some time ago. When a dad died, he set up financial installments so long as his daughter remains under a certain weight. Dude was controlling her diet from the grave. My old landlord took 2 years to boot me out because her mother, who owned the place, died and she wanted to sell the place. But her mother's carer said the mother verbally promised the house to her. Even though it was not written in the will, it still took 2 years of fighting in court to clear things up. No, the carer didn't get it in the end, even after all the appeals. Lady wanted her small dog to be buried with her. If the dog happened to be alive when the lady passed, she wanted the dog put down and then join her. Edit. Thank you, kind stranger, for the silver. I had the first son, so my dad decided to leave me more. Except he did the math wrong and it came out to 105%. He had dementia. Just last week I handled a matter where the parents left millions in artwork to various people, wads of cash to various charities, and only left their kids the family cats. Turns out they did it because the kids got them the cats to comfort the parents in their old age. And the parents ducking hated the cats, but the kids wouldn't let them get rid of the cats. Not a lawyer, but my grandpa put in his will a chocolate bar for one of his grandkids. Well, I have like 12 cousins and very difficult to track down where a couple of them went. All this estates and money he had in will was at a standstill for months because they couldn't find my couple cousins. Had to show court we put in effort to hire someone to track them down, etc. The lawyer that was helping execute the will was blown away that this lawyer allowed this and why. He wouldn't highly suggest not to do it. But I'm not complaining cause I got a Toblerone out of the deal. Edit. Thanks for first gold star. This one isn't necessarily crazy. Just an interesting glimpse into the mind of a kind old woman in her 90s. My aunt and uncle, both were more like parents and incredibly beautiful people, passed away within a few weeks of one another. When my uncle became ill, the aunt tried to work on a will with her long-term lawyer. But she was kinda just old and out of it. Her main concern the entire time was small knickknacks like a jar of pennies she wanted a distant cousin to have or a used jacket from the 70s she bequeathed to a sister-in-law. It was quite touching how much time she spent carefully considering each item and who would get it. Most of the items were used and didn't even really hold any sentimental value. She just wanted them to go to good homes. Continued. When she passed away, everyone knew exactly who was getting each odd item this year. The real kicker is when the lawyer told the primary beneficiaries that she never got around to the bigger assets and all that jazz. She basically told the lawyer, pay for our funeral and anything we owe and then family members X, Y, and Z can figure out the rest. It ended up being millions in homes, lakefront property, jewelry, antique firearms, vehicles, life insurance policies, stocks, bonds, gold coins, etc., etc. Luckily, the family is very close and everything went off without a hitch. They were amazing people who wanted to keep family items in the family. They just didn't put that much weight on their incredible wealth. They also hid their wealth amazingly. We all knew that they were very comfortable, but no one had any idea they were deep into 8-figure assets. It was just funny to see a random niece get a set of plastic cups, worn dance shoes, and a check for $125,000. So this is related. Worked on a divorce of a couple who fought over every single thing in the house, separating pillows and such. They were left 52 gallons of vanilla extract by her grandmother. In a secondary proceeding he was awarded all but 5 gallons. 2 weeks later he sent in a case of samples in Ziploc baggies to our office along with a request to subpoena a urine test from his ex-wife to prove she pissed in the jugs before he picked them up. We never needed to, as she screamed in court that she pissed them full just like he pissed all over her during their marriage. They were neat. This same couple went to court for nearly 2 years over a Beanie Baby collection. They had 3 kids. No, ma'am, in order to bequeath something, you actually have to own it. My grandpa gave me all his tools. Which sounds dumb, but we are in the same trade and it was a real life changer. It included a lift in his old shop truck, so I pretty much got everything to start my own shop at a building. A pretty good chunk of change. And his dog Tanner. As long as I made sure his live-in girlfriend at the time got nothing at all, and I told my uncle he was fat and his wife was going to leave him if she couldn't find his pecker. There was literally a script inside the will. It all went smooth and my uncle lost weight and Janice is an asshole, and it turns out Tanner is kind of an asshole too, but it's okay. Backways, my grandpa was kind of an asshole. A good one, but still sort of an asshole. And they have the same mustache and eyebrows, so now I come home from work every day and get stared down by my grandpa while I poop. When my grandfather passed, his will asked that I clean out his shed, and I alone. I found marijuana seeds, old reel-style film pornography, which was hilarious, and a bunch of other unsavory paraphernalia. 50s flick knives too.